When I first met Jamie, she had been dealing with gut health issues as a mom of two since high school. She'd spent all of her developing years searching for a solution to her bloating, constipation, and acid reflux, only to get answers from doctors that either never worked or made her feel worse. Suggestions like drinking more water, eating fiber, taking probiotics, or using laxatives either didn't work or made her feel worse. Enter the BetterBelly Blueprint. After a cruise that made her feeling worse than ever, Jamie stumbled across the BetterBelly podcast, this podcast, and our proven solution to all gut health issues, the BetterBelly Blueprint. After just 1 month following her personalized protocol she built in the program using our protocol templates and her unique lab results, Jamie was having daily bowel movements and no bloat for the first time in decades. Now, Jamie is joining us on the podcast to share her story of how taking a step of faith in one more solution for her gut not only helped her while she was in the program, but has created sustained change in her even a year after finishing the program. If you're a little like Jamie and have been dealing with gut health issues for years or even decades and are tired of the same bloat, constipation, and acid reflux recommendations that don't work, then this episode is for you. Tune in to learn exactly how Jamie found natural constipation relief for her bloated belly and why the solution could be for you too. Hey friend, welcome to the BetterBelly podcast. If you're currently trying endless supplements, doctor visits, and diet changes to heal your mystery symptoms, you are in the right place. We're here to solve the real root causes behind your gut, hormones, skin, sleep, and brain concerns. Literally anything and everything in your body. My name is Allison Jordan. I'm a functional medicine practitioner that has supported over 150 clients just like you to heal problems that no one has been able to fix. You don't need a perfect diet or a random supplement you found on Instagram to heal. You need a proven system that heals your whole body from the inside out. That's what I'm here to share with you, episode by episode. It's time to make health easy again. And just as a reminder, this information is not meant to diagnose, manage, or treat disease. Always consult with your own health practitioner before you make any changes to your health. All right, Jamie, I am so excited for you to be on the BetterBelly podcast. Welcome to the BetterBelly podcast.
Yeah, me too. I've listened to all your podcast episodes actually, so I'm glad to be here.
Even like after graduating from the Blueprint?
Yeah, I still listen to them. Like I know
I
you're talking
love
about
it.
SIBO this week. Even if I'm
Yes.
past certain points, because I feel like there's all sorts of nuggets of information of it, whether it's for me or even family members, but I'm kind of past that. But like with family members, whether it's, my kids or anything that I can pick up on something.
Yes. Lifelong learner, free good
Yeah,
information. Well,
exactly.
Jamie, let's jump in. Let's move back in time. Like it's actually a while now. Now I feel like old or something. You were in our first cohort of the Better Belly Blueprint, which was where I basically took this process that I'd been doing with clients for 5 years and I had proven it. I knew it was successful and I said, we're going to make it more accessible and work with it with a large group of people, do group coaching. You were in that first cohort. So exciting.
Mhm.
And that was in
Yeah.
like it started June 2022, right? Does that sound right? Sounds like a long time ago. Was it June
I
2020?
think 2023.
Okay, 2023.
Yeah.
Sweet. So about a little over a year ago, as of this
Mhm.
recording, probably a little longer by the time it comes out. And can you just update us? Tell our listeners what was going on in your health before you joined that made you say, I really feel like I need or want to do something different. What was going on? What were your symptoms?
Right. So I've always battled with what I call gut issues for years. I mean, even since I was younger, teenager, I remember even in college, like, of course, then it was like, how many probiotics can you take? And
Mm,
my doctors were like, take magnesium, do all the different things, water. It just continued on. I mean, so last year, to take you how long that's been, I was then 41 and I had went on a cruise. And when I got off that cruise, it was like in April, um, I started to feel really bad. Like within a couple of weeks, obviously constipation was still there, but I had crazy bloating. Like I literally looked like, especially by the evening, I was like 6 months pregnant. reflux I'd never had before, headaches. And I just felt overall, I told my husband, I was like, something is terribly like off mentally and physically, but it pointed all to like GI symptoms. So then I like frantically got on podcasts. I do a lot of driving with, at that point, both of my daughters to and from school, and searched constipation. And then you came up. So I like binge listened to like all of your episodes and like kept pulling stuff out. And then you offered the blueprint. And I was like, okay, that's it. I'm in. Cause my doctor that I'd had talked to beforehand, with just GI stuff, the answer was, it just is what it is. Take this medicine. Literally told me to take Miralax every day for the rest of my life. And I was not okay with that, nor did it help, to be honest with you, which is crazy in itself. But, so yeah, I was just to the end of my rope.
It
And
doesn't
luckily
add
your
to.
program.
Oh, go. Yeah, go. You can keep going.
No, I was like, luckily you offer, I got talking to you or heard you, and then your program came available, and I was like, I'm in.
And I was gonna say don't you love it when the things that were recommended to you by a doctor don't even work? Even the things that are like supposed to be the big guns like Miralax. And you're like, wow,
Yeah.
this really makes me feel good about my health and like confident where it's going.
Well, right. And
Not.
so, right. They tell you that the same time, like every year I would go every year, I mean, to my regular doctor and even my GYN, as if I wasn't doing the things. They're like, drink plenty of water. You need to increase your fiber. And actually, when I increased my fiber, like with Metamucil and stuff like that, I actually felt worse. So everything they were telling
Yes.
you need to take probiotics. I took those, got like the best on the market, the ones that had to be refrigerated that I thought were the best, felt even worse. And then they're like, you need to eat healthier, which I was, which we'll later find out the stuff that I was like shoving in my body thinking I was doing to be healthy was actually making me even worse. So I was like, they were telling me to do all these things. I did them all, even like Colace twice a day, magnesium, stuff, like everything. Literally live with my water bottle. I probably drink more water than I technically have to, and nothing worked.
Yes. So you're in a super similar boat to all our clients. Really, really excessively bad advice there
Yeah.
on gut health that is very prolific. It's not just doctors, it's functional people, it's alternative health, it's chiropractors and nutritionists.
Yeah.
And you're kind of like, well, this isn't working, this sucks. Tell us, I love to just early in the beginning of the podcast, what are your symptoms now? And if it comes to mind, can you remember even at certain points in the program when you were starting to notice that shifts, either like how far into it was or what protocols? Um, I would love, yeah, just share with our listeners that transformation. We'll kind of scoot back and then get into details after that.
Yeah. Like, so I have daily bowel movements like every day, like without question. I don't have bloating. I don't have reflux. Um, I don't have the headaches. I mean, the energy, this will probably come back later. It is way better than what it was. I'm still working on my minerals with what we found on my HTMA. I mean, but overall, I don't have like any GI symptoms. It's now more me just fine tuning like wellness things, with our energy or different things like that. Obviously, with my age, I'm going through, or eventually menopause, like perimenopause and hormone shifts. So just fine tuning those things now is more like it was. And actually, I went back and looked too because I was like, I don't think it took very long at all for me to start seeing results. And like when I broke down the timing of it, I had only started. I think I did the liver protocol and felt better not far after that. And now I daily wear a castor oil pack. My husband's like, you wear that every night? I was like, I do. And I thought that I would never wear that thing.
Yeah, some people
Uh,
love it. I don't
I
wear it every
do.
night.
I do. It's like a big bear hug. But then, uh, yeah, so after that, I think I did the digestion, the nutrient, and the leaky gut protocols. And if it serves me correctly, it was barely a month in, and
Yeah.
I was already feeling so much better. Like the reflux had gotten better. I think I was maybe a month, and then I was starting to have regular bowel movements. I think I was only maybe a month and a half in to where it was daily. Um, and so that was crazy to me because at that point, as we'll probably talk about, I still had so many more things we found on my test that I hadn't even begun to address because I was working on just the initial stuff.
Yeah. And I mean, so yeah, in the liver protocol, it would have been less than a month. So you get access to liver protocol week
Yeah.
2 or 3. And so you would have already started seeing, and that's why I put that
Yeah.
protocol right at the beginning, because some clients, they don't notice improvements, but it is still prepping their body. Some of y'all, it's like, boom, your body's starting to
Right.
detox and you're already starting to feel better. So, I mean, really fast results, which there is a window. It's not everyone gets the same results, but what story you just shared, it is not like you're the only person that's had that. And it's just so beautiful. I love how to just you were sharing daily bowel movements. Now, like, can you tell us? Because I think the other thing that people can experience is like, well, maybe I'll get to a point where I have daily bowel movements, but I'll have to do 27 things and then do a magic dance to like make it happen every day. You
No.
mentioned you do the castor oil pack. Is there anything else you feel like you're doing regularly? Like, how many supplements are you taking even? Because I like people, I want to know, like, and I want people to hear how little you're probably really doing to just
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah, so I just take just for maintenance the liver nutrients because I really like those,
Me
and
too.
B6 I take that
Yeah.
every day. I'm still working with my stomach acid every now and then. I do the zinc tally. It's mind blowing, and they may not even know all this stuff, but the first time I did it, like my husband could taste it, I could not, and it took forever for me to even get the slightest bit of taste in my mouth. But uh that's really it. I don't take anything for
Yes.
for bowel movements. Really, I do the potassium shots. I do just because that's probably just
Part of your
individualized to
minerals.
me because of my test with the HTMA and my minerals are low. Otherwise, if once those get in normal range, then that stops, and that's just from me killing my adrenals. But yeah, so it's crazy. I don't take I haven't touched colace. I haven't touched magnesium, this magnesium citrate, nothing really.
Isn't
Nothing.
that
There's no happy
beautiful?
dance. It's like honestly, this is probably too much information. It's like clockwork. Like every morning I get up and then I go and it makes me really kind of sad and sick to know that I would go like 5 and 7 days and just to see what should normally be coming out of your body every single day. Was no wonder
And
why I felt toxic and sick and sluggish and miserable all the time.
yeah, and that you went through decades of that,
Oh
really,
yeah.
of it being
Mm-hmm.
suboptimal. And there were seasons clearly where it got worse, and then
Yeah.
seasons maybe where it wasn't great, like childhood, but wasn't as bad as it was in your 30s or right as you were turning 40. But yeah, it's like it doesn't have to stay that way, and you don't have to have high amounts of maintenance. My like red flag is if you're like, well, I can poop every day, but I'm taking flaxseed and I'm like drinking all my water and I'm having to do special yoga stretches, you're like, you're
Yeah.
having to try too hard, and it's a sign
Yeah.
that you haven't that something's holding you back, and it's not your lack of flaxseed.
Yeah, I don't even think about it any day. And used to that would be my, oh my gosh, here we go again. It's today the day that I can feel
I
better.
hope today I poop. That's
Yeah,
all I
right.
want. All I want for Christmas is to poop daily. Awesome. So thank you for sharing that. And that's the same for me. Like I have supplements I found help me. It's very normal, by the way, for that zinc protocol where we're rebuilding our stomach acid take a long time. It took me 12 months to be able to strongly taste zinc tally. And I actually tweaked our program to really explicitly say this just takes a while. um, but now you don't have to take it consistently every single day. You'll just like give yourself little boosts if something's
Yeah.
off. All right, so let's see. We answered the question about how quickly you started noticing differences. You've talked a little bit about things that you tried to help your symptoms, super, super common. And by the way, for our
Yeah.
listeners, I have a couple episodes on like why probiotics didn't heal your gut, why fiber isn't healing your gut, or constipation. So I'll link those in this episode if you're kind of like, why is that? That's so mysterious. If you want to know what to do about it and get those exact steps, join the BetterBelly Blueprint. But
Yeah.
I do pretty much. Do you feel actually I've never asked someone this who's out of the program, Jamie. Do you feel like when you listen to the podcast and like both before you join the program and after, can you see how like the program, I pretty much share everything that's inside the program on the podcast?
Yeah, I do. Like
Yeah.
all the information, like it's but I absolutely love the program because it's step by step, like to me, foolproof, and you explain it very well. You're always available. Like on the Facebook group that we're part of for any questions. So here I am over a year out still when I need a question. And it's not really sometimes about poop. It's like other functional, things that I have
It's new
questions
stuff.
about, labs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that things that come up. Because the more that I've learned about this stuff, like the more like crazy intrigued I became about it with questioning things and like, it does really make sense with anything. Like, what is the root problem versus here? Let me slap a band-aid and give you a pill for a symptom. I'm like, no, that's not going to work.
Yeah, because you grabbed our lifetime coaching option, which when people join now, they do have an option to not get lifetime coaching, but they can always upgrade later. And so that is like, because I just want as many people, like, I don't want cost to be a limitation. Like,
Right.
I hear so many people, and I'm actually curious, do you know if you like, did you spend much money? Like, can you think of, oh, I went into this functional doctor and I spent XYZ amount before coming to this? Because I do get people who say, I worked with a functional doctor for 3 months and I spent $3,000 already and that didn't work, or things like that. Was that a part of your story?
It's really not. I did, go to like a seminar for someone and I was like super intrigued and they were talking about, the detox and just explaining their whole program. And he for 3 months, it did include the test, but obviously not supplements but 3 months and that was it. So I don't know what the future held past that point. Was over
Right.
$5,000. Yeah, and so
Jamie.
I'm not kidding. And so I was like, I mean, it sounded amazing. Me and my friend went to this seminar because that's the thing. You came in for a seminar, and then they went through his whole program, and then you could do a consult. But that's what it was. It was over 5,000, and then there was a functional medicine not far. Well, it was about an hour and a half from where I live, who's rated the best, and she was very confident that like she doesn't keep her patients because her patients get better, which was amazing. But her initial just to work with her was like a $350. That was not even coming. That's just signing a contract with her. And then every appointment was $250 to see her. And then there was additional with whatever she did that appointment. That was just the money for her hour. So I
Yes.
was like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh. And then traveling, there's no way because I have to
Yeah.
balance stuff. I have 3 kids and teenagers mixed in there, college students. So I was like, I want to take care of myself, but then I have to be mindful. So the one I really thought about before was 5,000. I just didn't go all in at that point because I'm like, I don't feel great, but I'm not that sick which I actually, now that I feel better, I really was that.
I
I
mean, but
just
it
didn't know
also,
any better.
yeah, yeah, there is a component. I find lots of people say, well, I'm not that bad. Like if I'm talking to somebody at the bus stop because they're complaining about their health and I'll ask them little questions. They love to complain, but then they'll be like, well, I'm not that sick. Like
Right.
I'm like, oh, no, you're not. Yeah, sure, okay. But the other thing is that I think sometimes our brains send us little red flags of like we'll tell ourselves we're not that sick when we just feel that the price point is off. And we
Right.
either don't understand the value behind it or we have a lot of strong intuition that like that was the wrong thing, right? Because you
Right.
decided to join my program and I'm actually curious, people before they join a program, they can have lots of reservations or questions, things they needed answered or like hey, this is a process. And actually, before I just like start sharing things that
Yeah.
different the reservations people can have, did you have any that you can remember?
I am a crazy penny pincher. So it's, but so usually I don't spend money on much of anything for myself, but I think I was so desperate. And then after hearing what one person was going to be able to do for 3 months and then hearing about your program and that, I could learn also while doing this program, which I love to learn anything. So that was amazing. I didn't have any reservations. It's crazy because most of the time I would, but like just after listening, because everything just made sense, I'm like, I was all in. I
Yeah.
had more reservations from like, can I actually do this? And I
What do
actually
you
could with
what
giving,
do you
certain
mean? Yeah.
foods. Well, I think that was the only thing I was like, oh, I know, because I probably knew for a long time I shouldn't, like, gluten and dairy were triggers for me, but I needed a test to tell me that. I know that sounds crazy, but
No,
all
it's
that I
not
took was
crazy.
a test to tell me, hey, this is why your body, like, a part of it. Like, these are foods that are definitely inflaming your body. And it didn't even bother me. Once that was done, I thought it was going to be bad. It wasn't. Like, I don't even crave those because I think I see those as like you don't want to feel bad, and there's so many
Do you
other
want to poop
alternatives out
tomorrow?
there. But then there's so many until listening to your podcast, and then I even had to ask questions. I'm like, oh my gosh, what can I eat now? I've actually found snacks and foods that I actually enjoy way better than the other stuff. I
They
mean,
taste good or you feel good afterwards. You don't
yeah,
realize you could
right,
feel so good after eating yummy food.
right, right.
Yeah.
That my
No, I get
body
it.
actually didn't hate. But that was I did other than like an apprehension with like money and stuff like that. I didn't because I think I had gotten to the point that I was like, you got to take care of yourself. And then there was a quote on Facebook. I'll probably say this wrong. It said something like, um, "Better invest in your health now, or you'll pay for your illness later." And I was like, it's such a mindset set shift. Before you're that bad, to invest in yourself and feel better versus letting yourself get so far gone because you won't invest money in yourself and your health. And, then you're in a hospital bed. And at that point, you don't have really much control once you've landed yourself there in that situation.
And it's not just money that you're costing at that point. It's life
Right.
experiences, it's
And
quality of
time.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
the that's really great to hear. I recently had a conversation just this week, and somebody told me somebody who's in business, and she's not a client of mine, but she's like, Allison, you could charge way more money than what you currently are. I've worked with people who do your level of work for, $3,000 or $1,000 a pop just for like one visit, or
Mm-hmm.
$10,000 for 6 months or whatever. And I'm like, I could raise prices in terms of quality of output, but also I don't need to. It's so streamlined. It's education based. If someone wants to work with me, we have our VIP option. If you just don't have the time essentially to do the process, or you're not as maybe as big of a fan of learning or whatever, you just like,
Yeah.
just tell me what to do. We've got our BetterBelly VIP option, which I'll put a link in the show notes for anyone who's like, ooh, what's that cost or involved? It's very, very easy. Where I just make your health plan for you. But I do think that the contrast is becoming higher and higher for me when I'm hearing people throw out numbers that they've already had to spend, and it can
Yeah.
make them not want to, the phrase like not want to put good money after bad.
Right.
I've already spent $7,000 on my issue. Someone told me in an email recently,
Yeah.
and that was sad. And I told them, I wish I could magically scoop up that money and put it into this program because you would have money left over.
Right.
Like,
Exactly. I definitely think it's way worth more than what you charge for it.
And I don't need to charge
Honestly.
more. I don't know, as like some ego trip. I just want to get the word out and make it
Yeah.
as available. Because yeah, some people can afford more, and maybe a lot of people can, but there's also people
Right.
that they're like, this is already the hardest thing they're ever going to financially do for their health or ever done. And I want to
Yeah.
know that I know that I know. I want to go to sleep tonight, sleep at bed, and like be at peace. But enough about me.
Well, I think the thing is that people, and I say this, I don't know. I think, and when you make that transition over to like functional medicine from healthcare, and you're used to having insurance, and then insurance, covers this or
You don't
medications,
see the
but
numbers on the
you
front.
don't. You
Yeah,
don't. So you think that all that stuff depend if you have great insurance, definitely.
it'll
You
feel
either get that
free.
stuff, it feels free.
Or
Exactly.
like
It's not free.
$25. Anything more than
Right.
$25, you're like, "What is this?"
Right. Or like your doctor's visit is covered, but it's totally a completely different thing than that. And I think that's where people are like, oh, this is a lot of money, but it's really not if you look at it as investing in your health, because you'll quickly spend that on a vacation
That
that
has
comes
been
and
really
goes. And vacations are great. I love them. We go on vacations. But when I would break stuff down, I'm like, well, and I didn't even spend what we spent on a vacation for our family. But to think that's a moment that comes and goes, but or you could use that money to make your quality of life so much better for you and your kids for years to come. And it's worth it.
I have Jamie, I have had people come into my office back when I had an in-person office, And they would begin the beginning of the appointment saying, "Oh, I just got back from our like cruise or from our Bali or whatever vacation." And I'm like happy for them. I'm not like mad. And then they get to the end of the appointment and they're like, "Oh, this is too expensive." I'm like, "What? Because you just spent 10 grand on your vacation? Like,
Right.
please take vacation, save money, make intentional choices. Don't just because you work with me, but my prices are such a way that you shouldn't have to say no to vacations." But
Right.
yes,
Yeah.
like if you compare the cost of your home to the cost of your health, and you can swap homes if something bad happens, you can't swap bodies.
Right.
Like, so that was when I had that thought once, I was super sobered. Am I paying as much on my body as I would on my mortgage? And we get grumpy if that happens once in your life.
Right. Right.
All right, all right.
Mm.
Well, we had that. I wasn't planning on that, but I find it interesting the intersection of money and health. And I did not
Yeah.
know that you were kind of in that same boat where you'd invested so much.
Yeah.
Um, I'm curious about time. You, I'm trying to remember. You're a full-time mom? Wait, we had a couple women go through that program in that cohort. We're full-time working and mothers and part-time working and mothers. Where are you in that?
I'm just
Mix?
a full-time mom. I was a nurse for many years, and then we moved a lot to several different states. So we don't have any family. And then we have two older girls, and then we started over with another one. So my husband travels a lot. So
Okay. Okay. Okay.
um,
But how did it feel time-wise for you, this investment? And what was your um I don't remember this actually, but like, did you attend like every group coaching call or just some, or what was it? How much coaching do you feel like you ended up getting? Because we had this email once from somebody who was in your cohort who's like, "Hi, it's been 6 months. I did everything in the program. I wasn't able to join any of the group coaching calls or ask any questions in the Facebook group, but I just want to let you know that all my symptoms are gone. Thank you so much."
oh wow.
And I know that's not you, but I was trying to remember
No.
what was your level, what could you attend for coaching wise?
I was in a good bit of them, especially in the beginning. And I'm pretty sure I had a question every time, or sometimes I think I would join just to listen, just to see other people's. It was interesting to see other people's labs, to be honest with you, as compared to mine, because that was a whole new realm there and compare and see. But I did, especially with certain ones with my test results. I like I would come to it with like I think I understand, but just to be able to be like just help me make sure that I understand what I'm looking at is correct. But I really enjoyed them. Super
Yeah.
informative.
Were you
Yeah.
surprised at all that you could like I guess you're a nurse, so maybe like it comes natural to you, but I had a client who came through who like not in the health sphere at all. He's another testimonial who'll be coming out around the same time as yours. And he was like, I just love that I could like read my own lab. It was like so
Yeah.
cool. Like I thought this was something only doctors could do. I'm like, it's not
Yeah.
magic. But how
No,
did
I
that
love
feel?
it. I'm like all geeked out on it for sure.
All right.
Just to
Well,
be able to have them and it's not just one number. Like you get a test and it's not like, oh, here's your test, here's your one lab value. Like you get a plethora of stuff from all the tests that I took. Like there's so much information there and it's very intriguing to be able to look at it and then get it explained or go through the modules and have it explained and be like, oh my gosh, this totally explains. I'm not crazy. Why I do actually feel this way.
and that's so valuable. I think that's one thing. Sometimes people look at the price point on some of the labs, which right now they can't be covered by insurance. Insurance doesn't care about them. They're like, "Oh, this will heal you." No, we don't want to cover them.
Yeah.
It's not quite how it works, but it's close.
Yeah.
And but if you look at all the number of markers and you divide it by the cost of the lab, a lot of these labs, it's like $10 a marker. Now,
Yeah.
and it's interesting, like, yeah, sure, it adds up, but it's like you're getting a lot of data
Yeah.
for the price. What do you remember? What are some of the biggest things that you learned about your health and your symptoms in the program, either from the labs or even just like things you were doing that, I don't know, made clicks in your mind of just self-awareness? I'd love to hear takeaways.
Yeah. So like one of the biggest ones was the Zoomer with the food. Like
Yeah.
two of the big ones. So gluten and dairy, I was like, okay, go figure. But two of the big ones, which was crazy, like I ate so much of because I would do different meal plans for my gut and also health. And like quinoa and brown rice. are permanent for me. And I would tell my husband, I was like, okay, that makes sense. Because every time I'm like, I have to eat quinoa. I guess I'm saying that right. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have to make that. And so I would make all these different bowls, and I would tell him every time I would eat, I'm like, oh gosh, I feel like a ton of bricks. Like I just don't feel great. So when that thing came back, I was like, oh my gosh, look, I wasn't
This healthy
crazy.
food is not so healthy. Yeah,
Right.
blanket statements like quinoa can be high fiber and it's one of the highest protein grains out there. I'm sensitive to quinoa too, and I got these little cute little treats at Costco that I thought I'd scanned the bag correctly. I'm like,
Mhm.
wow, I can eat it. These are yummy. They've got like dried fruit in it and like chocolate. Who doesn't love all that? And then it's got quinoa in it because I bite into it. I'm like, what is this texture? This doesn't seem I'm a little suspicious that this texture I cannot eat. And I sure enough I look and that night my gut is like rolling. And so that was like that's actually in the last few months that happened to me. I gave the bag to my husband. I'm like, you have to eat these. Please find them delicious.
But if you don't know, so for me, I'm
You're
like
just
same thing with
guessing.
gluten and dairy, right? You're just guessing. So if you show me that, like on a test, like that's just how I am and how I learn. Like if you show me this, and this is causing your problems, and I can just stop it and I'm okay with it. Like I've made peace with not having rice and didn't even think twice about it. And I used to eat it at least every other day. I would have brown rice to be healthy with
Did
something like
you
that.
did you have any temporary food sensitivities on your Zoomer?
I did. Luckily, avocado, apple, there were several of them, soy that were temporary ones. And then I took all those out. That one was a little tough, but then after the whole, like following the protocol that introduced them in, and I eat them all now. Like I eat avocado probably at least every day or every other day. Apples are my snacks. So I
Yeah.
have all that food back.
And that's a pretty foreign concept to most people that there are permanent food sensitivities and there are temporary
Right.
ones. And temporary ones have to do with ones we develop sensitivities to as we get leaky gut. They don't cause leaky gut, they're a result of them. But
Yeah. And it
to
seemed to be the
have,
food that ate a lot of the
yeah,
sweet
exactly.
potatoes.
They're foods you tend to, they often are the foods you eat more of
Yeah.
because you're having higher exposure and those foods are getting into your bloodstream. And then your body's like, what is this apple doing in her bloodstream in an undigested form? Immune system attacks it and then says, next time she eats an apple, we're going to attack it sooner because they are treating it like a pathogen. It looks like a
Right.
foreign object. And so part of our process is we reduce food sensitivities. And it doesn't mean you don't walk away without any, but if you start the program, some people come into our program and they already have a laundry list of foods they can't eat. That list goes down. Sometimes they join the program, you get a Zoomer and you start off with whatever you have and it still goes down till you have that kind of like core central stuff. And that's for everybody. Like I couldn't eat apples because I was on the low FODMAP diet and garlic and onion, etc. And I can eat all those foods again. So,
Oh,
um, which is also part of like how you have this like light and breezy way of having a healthy body. You don't have to like unless you like working out, but like you don't have to work out every day or like rely on some like again magic dance or very exorbitant, expensive, time consuming thing, you know?
right. Right.
Um, did you anything you wanted to add to that? Things that you would learn? I don't want to
Yeah.
cut you off.
So I guess the four lows on my HTMA when I
Yeah.
saw that one, and because I literally felt like death. I do feel so much. I've taken, done one follow up HTMA, and then I'm gonna do one. I think I'm doing like another month, which I love that test because that one's not to me expensive at all for what you get from that.
It's like a sneeze.
And yeah, so it's like, oh, I'll just check up on that and see how things are looking. And those are easy. Well, it's easy to know what to tweak with, and that's not expensive either. Like whether it's calcium or sodium or potassium. I mean, good grief, I take the potassium shots daily and actually love them because I love salt. So take them morning and night.
Were
But
you one of my clients in that there it was someone in your cohort or after it who um they we were talking about I don't know if it was their HTMA, but we were talking about salt, and I was like, sometimes we crave salt because we're deficient in it, and
yeah,
it was I don't know whoever it was like I'm gonna add salt to everything, and she's like I feel way better, and then her HTMA back came back and it was like super low. Was that you? Where I
that's
basically
me.
yeah,
So
where I was like eat
yeah,
more salt, and you're like
yeah.
yes.
Because I had no idea different. I mean, I should. I guess I knew that like pink salt or Himalayan salt or Celtic salt was good salt, but I never really knew why or paid attention to the rationale. So, I mean, all we had was
Or the
white table
dosage.
salt. Yeah, so
Dosage.
I've always had white table salt. Like we live off salt. Like I put it on everything and all that. So which is obviously now knowing the difference between the two, a game changer. But that was me. And you're like, no, go get like sea salt or Celtic salt and put it. And I was putting it on everything and did feel so much better. But yeah, all mine, I had 4 lows. My sodium was even my labs have been normal my entire life. My blood labs, all of them until I, another side note, put it into your functional medicine, the blood lab
Yes.
spreadsheet, and
Yes.
it's been low all these years. That's the
I
whole
love
nother
this.
story. Um, but yeah, that was me with the salt.
You've been dropping nuggets. I will say if anyone's like, what the heck is she talking about with this salt thing? This sounds magical. I have a whole podcast episode called the Salt episode. I will link in the show notes. And then also she name dropped my functional blood chemistry lab analysis sheet where you can literally analyze your own blood work and you can get it for $27 and it is also linked in the show notes. So just super, it's like literally the same spreadsheet I built for myself to work with my clients. And then I was like, I could just share this with people because it's like pretty
Yeah.
self-explanatory. It like works on its own.
And that's even cheaper than what it could be. Because I look at my chiropractor's office, he was like, "Oh, do all this blood work or what, for your normal." Because I got to get it done through my primary. Um, just my regular blood work yearly. And he's like, oh, or you can just bring your labs to us and we can plug them into our data points that we have and we'll charge you $50. And I was like, oh, I have something at home
Yeah, I've
to
got
think
some
about it
things.
myself. I'm good. Yeah.
$50 though, I was prepped for a little higher number. So like I feel like that's reasonable. Like
He's
at least
he's
I
pretty, yeah.
yeah, they could be doing something crazier. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah,
But I
you
was
do
thinking the same thing. I was like, oh, $50. I would think you would either demand labs to be done here to even get that information. That he gets to do it though. I don't get access like with yours. I get to
you get to keep
look
it.
at it and change the
Yeah.
number, like, yearly change the numbers. This is like a one
So
time.
yeah.
And I'm sure
Yeah.
it's more he gets to see the data and then tell me what it
What
is
to
versus me
do
looking at
and
it.
I
Yeah.
don't like that.
But I want to
Like
see it myself. Yeah.
I want people to own that information. I don't think that they should be
Yeah.
gatekept into needing to rely on somebody. And
Yeah.
you're enjoying to a certain extent getting to rely on me, but like
Yeah.
you're also being empowered.
Yeah.
So, well, we are on to our last question, which is if you
Okay.
could share one thing to encourage a man or woman listening to this podcast right now regarding their health, what would it be?
Just do it. I don't know if that's encouragement, but like you absolutely can do it. Like, and you're worth it to take care of yourself. This it goes for anyone, men or women. I think for women, especially moms, you sometimes are a little apprehensive about taking care of yourself because your kids can kind of suck the life out of you, or you always feel like you should be doing for everyone else. But like you can do it and take care of yourself. So like the whole thing, like if you don't take care of yourself now, you miss so much time, energy, and effort trying to just grab at straws with it. Because obviously, if you're listening to this, you have a problem or you're really looking for help. And you think it costs a lot of money, but it really doesn't by the time you sit there and think about all the money. Because I used to be the person as well that, like, oh, I'll grab a supplement here. Oh, I'll grab a supplement here. And then I dive into the horrible world of Googling symptoms and then Googling that, which tells you way too many things that aren't true, or you scare yourself to death, or you waste hours of your life and time that you could be spending with your family just trying to put out little fires, if you can even do that. I don't know how many supplements I've taken, and either I've ended up worse off or especially no better than to get to the root cause of what the problem is. Um, so
That
they should work
supplements.
with you. I tell everybody.
Supplement sinkhole.
Get a hug.
You know what's really annoying being on the other side of like, because I see those I'll specifically say supplement ads, right? Get rid of your PMS, get rid of your, I'm always like, what's in this? Like, is there something I should know about? Like, are you telling me as a practitioner, like something new is on the market that is like life changing? I look at them and then generally I get the sense of I have the same types of products split up into like a couple different not as cute marketing, not as it's not pink or whatever
Right.
like things and are they no these people don't need any of these things. These are only masking their symptoms, whatever it is going on. And I've never really seen these supplements, whether it's a probiotic or it's for PMS cramping or it's for bloating or it's to help you digest FODMAPs. Like I've looked at all these products and I just get mad that they're like $50, $75
Yeah.
a month. And you think you're
Yep.
buying this super high quality product and their marketing is spot on. It looks beautiful. They've got doctors saying it's amazing. It's confusing. And it just makes me mad because I feel like, yeah, you can really sway the market by just looking good enough.
Yeah.
Um, and so, yeah, I do think that's a sinkhole. One thing you mentioned to me about them, or you just mentioned now about moms, and it made me think of another testimonial we have that I think, if you're a mom and you're thinking about your kids and you want to hear other testimonials from moms from this podcast, I'm going to link my episode with Desi, who is a mom of, it's like 4 or 5 kids, on the littler side of things. And she shared about how she couldn't even finish making dinner. It was like once or twice a night because she would get these horrible shooting stomach pains and have to like go lay down and have to like get one of her kids to try and like stir the pot and hope they didn't burn themselves because her husband is a pilot and would like fly and be gone for 24 plus hours. And so her story was just really touching of how much more relaxed and easier motherhood was, and she wasn't afraid that she could like sit through a whole movie with her kids, and like she really just felt like she was more present and energized and also in less pain as a mom, and that meant a lot.
Yeah.
So I feel
And you
like
are like, so I feel like I'm completely different person, but, and this is a side note, but like we saw in my Dutch, like with my cortisol levels being crazy, I went from taking like 600 to 800 milligrams of caffeine a day, thinking I couldn't live without it. And I feel so much better on none. So I was like completely, and with taking that caffeine, I felt like I was very short tempered with my kid, like, just
and
irritable because I
we
didn't
make it
feel good.
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
No,
off.
you good?
We make it like a social thing, like the mom who drinks 3 to 4 cups of coffee every day, and
Yeah.
I'm not judgmental, I'm sympathetic. Like
Yeah.
what's going on in our bodies if we need to do that, and the fact that we feel that it's both like a badge of like, I'm a mom, I do this thing, and like I love my coffee, and we're allowed to like I'm sure you drink coffee now. Like I don't have any stipulations on like you can never drink coffee again. I don't know
Right.
if you liked it that much, but
Yeah.
do you drink coffee sometimes now, like for fun?
Not regular. Occasionally, I'll drink. I have like a mushroom coffee, which I think only has like 54 milligrams of caffeine in it. But I was literally surviving off of 3 or 4 cups in the morning, a Celsius in the afternoon, because I would get the rises and the crashes and all that. But I don't feel
Yeah.
like I need it at all. And
And we
if
had a
I
process.
do, I
We had a
would feel
process to
worse.
get you off of the caffeine.
Yeah. But I
Were
do
you
feel better for my kids and my husband. I just overall mentally, because when you feel bad, I mean, you just can't be good for anyone else or and if you don't have energy for yourself, you much less can't give it to your kids and enjoy them,
awesome?
and help them.
Well, Jamie, thank you so much for coming and sharing your story, even though like I caught it like years after. It feels like years, a little over a year. I guess it's even a
Mm.
testimony of like the effectiveness that I can
Yeah,
like don't have to grab you like right when you're feeling good. Oh, because she's gonna slide backwards anyways.
right.
It's like you do it once and then you maintain like your body's just able to you made
Maintain it.
like an actual change and your body can now maintain itself, which is how it's designed. So thank you for
Yeah,
coming and sharing your story. If anybody's listening to this and they're like, how do I do the same thing Jamie did? You're going to go to betterbellytherapies.com/training, and it's going to you'll be able to register for a little training video that's going to show you exactly what the Better Belly Blueprint's like, why it works different. You can really know what you're getting yourself into before you join. And if you're like, I don't even need to watch the video, Allison, you can just go to betterbellytherapies.com/training. And then after you sign up, just scroll to the bottom of the page and you'll be able to join the Better Belly Blueprint and start making those changes immediately. So thank you so much, Jamie, for coming on the Better Belly podcast.
yeah. Thanks for having me.
Hey, friend, I hope you loved this episode. If you've been a fan for a while or newly loving this podcast, can you do me a favor? Drop into Apple Podcasts and leave me a review. When you leave a review, you do so much. You help me know you're listening, you can tell me what you're loving so I know what to make more of, and you help others by boosting this podcast so other people like you can find the podcast too. I mean, it's a win-win-win, right? So if you want a way to pay it forward, just go to Apple Podcasts or click the link in my show notes and leave a rating and review. And if you want some more free stuff, just head over to my free Facebook group, betterbellytherapies.com/Facebook, and you can get access to all of my free support for you, including some Facebook group exclusive stuff like my podcast episode vault, where you can search the BetterBelly podcast by topic and find exactly what you need to expedite your healing. I cannot wait to see you in there. Catch you guys next week.